Well, the Gamecocks, another fourth quarter collapse. Not a good sign for the old ball coach. So bad that he didn't even take any questions. The Gamecocks go to 4-5 on the season. Of course, now folks are wondering, is Steve Spurrier going to retire? Defense coordinator coming back. A lot of questions that are out there. Joined by Brian Hand of Spurs and Feathers. Of course, we don't have Chalk Talk tonight. Brian, another fourth quarter collapse.
Yeah.
The third one this year, a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, and they give it up.
It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been like that. That's what it's felt like.
Yeah.
It really feels like it's the same thing over. When Brandon Wild scored that touchdown, you felt like, all right, maybe it's not going to happen today. But unfortunately for all Gamecock fans, it did.
Yeah, 45-42 loss for the Gamecocks, and it's one of those games you kind of felt it. I mean, I was in the stadium, and you can feel how things just might slip away. And the one question I have, how they play defense. I mean, I understand prevent defense. I understand, dropping, 7 or whatnot, but 8 sometimes. But when you don't have studs up front that can get after the quarterback, to me, that was a mistake.
Yeah, and that's been the case all year. I mean, that's for these fourth quarter losses particularly. What's going on there? They keep changing things. Lorenzo Ward's gone up to the box, but even with all those changes, something's not working. What that is, and I know they're trying to get back to fundamentals, as they're saying once again, but it's getting a little tiresome hearing regrouping all the time, just because there's only so much you can regroup. At some point, you got to show the action.
Yeah, one thing we talked about the youth of the football team, and that was an excuse for so long because my problem is I don't see enough progression. Even as a young team, you want to see the secondary guys get better. You want to see the pass rush getting better, and you just don't see any of that. And I think Lorenzo Ward, in my opinion, is that if he should be concerned because when one game, yes, 2, okay, but 3, that's a problem.
Yeah, and I think that's why Steve Spurrier didn't answer any questions. Not saying that he's going to fire Lorenzo Ward. We don't know that answer yet. I think it's more because he just doesn't know what to do. He said on his teleconference that this is something he's not accustomed to.
Right.
I mean, even looking last year, there were a lot of close wins last year.
Right.
But that's what they were. They were wins. This is a team that's very close to being 8-1, but they're 4-5, and something has to be done somewhere.
Well, when you look at it, and I researched all the numbers defensively, everything is 100 plus in the FBS as far as the defensive statistics there. But here's the bottom line: the offense, Brian, had issues as well because 42 points, I get it, but those last 2 possessions, not good possession. In overtime, they get 2 sacks. They got to try a long field goal by Elliott Fry. I mean, just. The offense sputtered, and we've seen this picture, or this movie, I should say, before.
Yeah, and that's why Spurrier keeps calling them team losses, because everybody wants to put it on the defense, and rightfully so. They haven't been doing their job, but the offense isn't doing their job when it matters. They didn't get the last-minute stop at Auburn until just then, last minute, and they couldn't get anything going. And then in this last game against Tennessee, couldn't get anything going, and then what they did in the overtime, it just wasn't much there. But at the same time, they're putting record-setting numbers. They're just not doing it when it matters. But the most important thing is when it matters.
You got to finish the game, and of course, they're not finishing at all. Another some news that came out of this whole thing, Ty Rodgers, of course, was off the team, and then today he's reinstated to the team. So there's a position change to keep him here?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's what the reports are out there, particularly, the Big Spur, saying that he's back in, he's reinstated, and that he's but he's not on the offensive line anymore. He's gone over the defensive line. But we keep talking about that's where they need some help. So hopefully, if he is in fact back in the good graces and everything works out, they could use some help there.
Finally, Brian, is Spurrier contemplating? You meet with him every week. Is he contemplating in your mind? What are you feeling right now, based on where he is mentally?
Yeah, I think that Steve Spurrier felt like that when he ever decided to go, it wouldn't be wins and losses. It would be if he wasn't calling the right ball plays. And as we saw against Auburn, and even for most of the Tennessee game, he's still dialed in that area. So I don't think it's really coming right now. But he even said on his teleconference, it always creeps in your mind after you have these kind of losses, particularly these kind of losses. But you regroup and you realize that, hey, there's a lot more out there. And I don't think Steve Spurrier wants to go out this way. It's just a personal opinion. I think he's still around for a little while.
Well, good stuff. He's Brian Hand of Spurs and Feathers. Follow him on Twitter @Spurs and Feathers. Well, that's going to do it for sports. We'll be back in just a moment.